Hi everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to start a new module which is asynchronous apex. And in this we have total six chapters which eventually will explain each and every aspects of what asynchronous process is in Salesforce. So as we are here, so in the first chapter, it's basically the definition and how things work as a synchronous process in Salesforce is explained. It's not a challenge. It's a 100 point challenge. So I already did it. So in this series, we will talk about asynchronous process. This series will be a mix of both aspects knowledge and simplification of the terms, as well as by the time we go to the other chapters, we'll be finishing up the challenges as well, right? So let's get started with what we have here. So asynchronous process basically in asynchronous apex, as we all know, so this is target to the ones who are at least intermediate level in Salesforce, who know basis of apex programming. And if you don't know, then also it's fine. So to summarize what the apex star, how apex executes is, so apex is a single transaction. It means synchronous transaction. It means that whenever you write a particular set of code, like this line and this line and this line, so it is executed line by line. And say for example, if you wanted to do a bigger task, say some heavy loading task, say querying a large amount of data, or doing a DML operations of large number of data, then you have to wait for the transaction to complete, and then you can further do the task. So it means if you have written a big chunk of code here which is doing a heavy lifting, then this line of code will execute only when this will finish. So it is very synchronous, like say one after the another, the process. However, sometimes you wanted to do this task, like say do a heavy lifting task, and still you wanted to run the remaining code. So in that case, asynchronous apex come into picture. So as they have mentioned here in a nutshell, asynchronous apex is used to run process in a separate thread at a later time. So now say for example, you are at this particular line, and this is executing on a single thread. So this is one thread when as you read, right, one line, second line, and third line. Now here you have a big chunk of code to execute. So what we will do in asynchronous apex is we will write this code into a into an asynchronous class or something. So for example, there are different types of apex, asynchronous apex are there. So for example, we have written this code and put it somewhere else, and that code will execute at a time when the resources are available, so that we are not holding up to these lines. Okay, so this will be happening at a later point of time, or in a parallel transaction, whenever the resources are available, or when this execution is happening and we are not waiting on the response yet. So if you don't want to wait on this response, and there's also another example where you wanted to do a server call, right? So in server call, you just wanted to just hit the API and forget the that we want a response from that, right? So we can just do it, like say just do apex server call and let it happen in the background, and we can go ahead and do this execution. So that's what asynchronous apex means, right? So now moving ahead, so how it is useful, it's like it helps us to increase the efficiency, so you're not holding up on to particular set of like not particular, like a particular single task, right? Heavy lifting task, you can do multiple tasks simultaneously. Scalability, like say now there's also a term where you can do a lot many transaction, one which are quicker and shorter are in synchronous transaction, and one which are heavy lifting or in a bigger task you can do into a asynchronous mode, right? And third is like higher limit. So as you know, the governor limits in Salesforce in a synchronous transaction are limited. So in asynchronous, those limits get expand, right? The increases, right? So that's what the the use, like the key benefits of this asynchronous process. Now what we have in asynchronous apex, we have like this four different type of apex. You have future method, batch apex, queuable apex, and schedule apex. This all things will be explained in the later chapters, and we will do a hands-on on them as well. So that's to just to know like these are the particular asynchronous apex that we have in Salesforce right now. Right now, going down, we have, like say, yeah, as we have mentioned previously, we have increased governor limit. So the SQL queries is 100 in synchronous and 200 in asynchronous calls. So that also the efficiency and the limits increases. As we all know that Salesforce is a shared a tenant based shared database architecture, right? So we have limited resource to for a particular instance. So hence, that one particular transaction, say a lot of a big transaction, a big process is happening, so you don't want to consume all the resources for to do that entire transaction, right? So that's why there's a limitation and limits are put into. However, that limit increases in the asynchronous transaction, right? So saying that how asynchronous processing work actually in Salesforce, so it's like it's based on queue like queue of like a module. So the functionality is like whenever there is a lot of synchronous calls, or are getting into this instance, are creating an instance. So what Salesforce does is they put all those requests, okay, into a queue. I say the request gets put into the queue. So those, so that we don't lose them, like say that, say for example there are three apex asynchronous apex request came, and we are not sure like which will execute when, right? So and those requests didn't get lost into the entire transaction threads. So what this asynchronous apex will be put into a queue. Say request one came, and then you have just to put into a, like say a pipeline, like a pipe, and then second and third are put into a queue. They are persistent, that second side persistent, stored into persistent storage, so that they are not like fail if they fail and recoveries, to avoid that thing. And the third is DQ, as and when your resources to execute that program or that batch request is available, then the job or the batch will the request will get executed. So that's how this module work into a Salesforce. So these are the three steps they have given. And like resource conservation. So asynchronous processing has low priority and real-time interaction with the browser and API. So it means like obviously because that because asynchronous processes are basically are heavy lifting tasks. So if you give priority to that task, right? So it will gobble up all the resources that we wanted to do, right? So hence it will take a secondary priority. Whatever the synchronous transaction happening will take the primary focus, and that will get executed first, and then whatever the resources and whenever the resources are available, those asynchronous transactions are getting get executed. So that's what was mentioned in this particular chapter. It's a very basic understanding. It was a like MCQ. I already like failed the first attempt, my bad. But eventually we'll go and see the later chapters as well. There are challenges as well explaining each and every type of asynchronous apex, right? So get along and stay tuned with this series, um, and then we'll see you in the next part. Thank you.